Good afternoon. I am Myles Sergé. This is who?
The Illuminati.
The
No.
Illuminati. Man, come on, man. I'm not going to. See, it's crazy because last week's show, I don't know what the hell was going on, and it scared me. So I'm just kind of like, I got to take this like slow increments because this could be true.
Guys, the show is moving on up, so we've been visited. So
I don't know. Well, that's D-KNOX, and we are here at MS Live, and we thank y'all for tuning in. Get some business out the way. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. It allows people to know that we are actually here. We are real people, and we are not robots, and we are doing things. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. Like I said, previous shows, our goal is to get to 1,000 within a couple of months. I think we're like 600 or something right now. So, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell to the channel. MS Live with D-KNOX is also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So if you can't, if you don't want to watch us, you don't have to, but you can listen to us. So make sure you do that. You can also follow us on Instagram, MS Live with D-KNOX. That is MS Live with D-KNOX on Instagram. I still have been doing a lot of things. I still got to change this X thing, but find us on X at Myles Sergé. There you go. We're gonna have to fire Roberto because cost saving measurements because nobody's sending the emails. But email us at mslivewithdknox@gmail.com. That's mslivewithdknox@gmail.com. Suggestions, complaints, guests you want to see, improvements you want to see, just anything with her. And you can also support the show. We're not making any money yet, but support is also needed. So support the show. PayPal us at mslivewithdknox@gmail.com on PayPal. Or if it's easier for you, just simply scan that QR code in the corner there. Takes you to a donation page. You can donate. We greatly appreciate it. It helps a lot. And I kind of lost myself for a second. Yeah. So D, how are you? How are things going with you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I got a multi-sport card over here, which means I can visit any gym I want to. I haven't had one in a few years, and recently I told myself, you need to get another one. I tend to work out at home, but I know that I need to get in the gym too, not just do user bands and body work,
Got you.
Yep.
You look a little swole though, like you're pumping the iron pretty hard.
Well, I'm doing. I do push-ups and only 10. I do 10 in the morning, 10 at night, but I do them in a different way. And I'll give you guys a secret, so pay attention.
This is another segment right here.
Okay. 4 seconds down, hold for 2 seconds, but make sure you breathe in. 4 seconds up, breathe out, hold for 2 seconds. When you get to number 9, when you come down, you hold for 9 seconds. And then back up. I bet most of you will only get to maybe 5 or 6. You won't make the full 10. You'll have to stop and break. And I do the same thing with my stomach with crunches. I lay on my back, 10 seconds, my legs go out flat. 10 seconds, they go back in. That's 1. So I'm not trying to do a whole bunch of stuff. I just smartly do stuff so don't take up too much time.
There you go.
That's tip.
Tip. And these are free people, so there you go. I'm good, man. I ain't doing too much, just running around trying to do stuff, too much stuff, but that's what we do here at MS Live, hopefully. Well, today, our guest today is one of my favorite people in the world, actually. I got mad stories, but I won't go there, but he's one of, like for real. Like when I see this guy, I'm so happy to see him because, he's like a cool dude, just one of the realest people I know. And he's just dope. Dope producer, dope musician, dope dude to just hang out with. I'm trying to see him in the background. He's just like, yeah, whatever, man. Oh, that being said, let's bring him so everybody can know who I'm talking about. Give it up for Dave Aju.
What's up, y'all?
How you doing?
Good, man. You know, Sunday.
That's right. Who you got on the football game?
Well, you know, I got to go West Coast, obviously.
Boo.
But, you know, and then the Pats got enough rings, you know. Come on now.
Yeah,
I think plus that, what was it? 2014 or 2015 was there, right? This is like the 11-year rematch. 11 years later, you know, that 4-point crusher at the end of that thing. So hopefully it'll be that tight. I just want a good game more than anything. You know?
I think it's gonna be good, but I think more importantly, instead of the game, I think everybody's waiting to see the halftime show.
Right. That's a big one.
Yeah,
that's a big one. In fact, like the Grammys have been, you know, a pretty hot topic. I was actually, maybe for the first time in a very long time, like kind of proud of the music industry.
Yeah, right.
You know, I was like, all right, this is like, wow, this is.
It was good, man. It was. I watched. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched like some of it. It was pretty good. It was some good.
Yeah, and just the energy and the attitude and the willingness of them to step forward and say all this shit and like, you know, maybe I don't rock Bad Bunny's music, you know, in my free time, but I got a lot of respect, man. Like, you know, he's got not only you know, on the Latin charts now, it's, you know, full #1s across the board, and you know, it's good to see that. It's good to see that, especially, you know, in an era and an administration that's as ferociously and very not so, you know, hidden anti-Brown, basically.
Right.
It's all what it is.
I mean, for real, at this point, that you know, you ain't gotta hide it no more.
They're not even trying to hide it anymore. It's like that shit is on Front Street.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
it might as well just be rocking "Death to Brown People" shirts or whatever. You know,
it's like, yeah, we said it. What? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's wild, man. The thing, you know, that happened recently, the whole Obama thing, that was crazy.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that's gonna come back to bite them in the butts.
I think so. I think it started.
You know, it's not good. It's not good for either race. You know, like you would say, it's not good for black people, but it's not good for white people either.
No,
there'll be some backlash from that because I can just see it.
The divide and conquer game is just, it's like that, you know, like you're playing Monopoly as kids and it's like it's very clear who's winning and so nobody's enjoying it. Right. Even the person winning, you're like, oh yeah, just take your money, you know, and everyone's like, all right. So you got 3 options, right? You either start the game over and redistribute everything and start over, or you just say, fuck this and let's play a different game entirely. I don't even like Monopoly. Or you flip the board and beat the shit out of the cat that wants to keep playing. And then he does that. So you either like lose friends or you lose money. It's like, so it's kind of, you know, I feel like we're kind of in an era that reflects that a little bit. It's like, that late stage Monopoly game moment. And people are just like, well, why are we even doing this? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, man, we got Chutes and Ladders, and we got like, you know, we got fucking, you know, we got Uno, I mean, there's so many other options. Some Risk, motherfucking Stratego, or what, I don't know,
right?
Battleship. You want to Battleship? Out of this Monopoly money, chance, community chest shit, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
If you guys been checking out the show, we tend to name the episodes where we do name, not tend to, we do name. I can't even talk, bro. We name each episode, and today is no exception. So, MS Live for D-KNOX Season 2, Episode 35. We still dancing with Dave Aju. So, tell me about We Still Dancin, my brother.
Yes, We Still Dancin is the most recent Elbow Grease release, Elbow Grease number 4. It's a label I started with my homie Rodney a few years back, actually during the pandemic. Backstage we were talking about pre-pandemic, post-pandemic stuff. I'm sure we'll get more into that. But you know, during the pandemic, had a little extra time, a little extra cash, and I was like, man, this is something I've been wanting to do for 30 years. I never really kicked it off. The name Elbow Grease was actually chosen because it was my father's like favorite phrase. It was my pop's favorite phrase. Yeah, so he was one of, you know, one of those. He's like you got something to do, just elbow grease. It's elbow grease. Oh, you know, like that's what it was his solution for everything verbally. The one shot phrase, you know. You know, and he raised me on a lot of jazz, a lot of like, I owe most of my musical pedigree to him. So he passed away about 17 years ago, and I was like, I got to start this label with that name. And I just, I never got around to it. All the touring, all the playing, all the other shit we were talking about. It just kind of got in the way. And then, during the pandemic, again, we had this little extra time, a little extra incubation space. There were no shows to go play. So it was like, and so we finally locked it in. And what was cool about it is that we basically kicked it off like thinking like, we want to highlight the tracks, like the piece of music. Like at one point you start out getting interested in like, say, a genre, like a full genre, right? You go to the record. Well, we used to go to the record shop and be like, okay, techno, this is what or whatever. You get into genres, then you get into like sounds or labels or geography. Then you get into the artists, and then in the artists, you get into the catalog, and then you start realizing more and more that it's really about that piece of music. And like the really dope artists that you love just have a higher consistency rate of tracks that are dope. And like I feel like, and I feel like we get kind of zoomed out and preoccupied with a region or a scene or a genre tag or all that stuff, and it's like, it's really about that piece of music. It's about that one track at a time. So it's basically like, Elbow Grease was like, let's pick one single track, and it's usually like a long 9 or 10 minute kind of thing, which a lot of my favorite joints always are. And then a couple versions of it, right? So like, there's always like a dub mix, and then there'll always be like a drumless, like kind of ambient vibe mix. Just, again, for the DJs, Elbow Grease to work, right? And that was kind of the idea. And each one so far has been kind of like, a personal love letter too, because these are tracks that like I'd given labels or friends of mine's labels that I'd put stuff out on, and they never wanted it. And I was like, what? You're sleeping on this shit? So like, I basically like put them out like, you know what? Like, I'll do this then. This is, and so that was kind of the idea. And so the newest one, We Still Dancing, was the first one made new. In other words, like not, the first three were basically following that same kind of recipe. And this one's actually made with Rodney, with my partner. Really cool cat, younger generation, but like, he understands the assignment. I think it was at like an after party in San Francisco somewhere. And, sometimes at afters, the music can get a little, aftery or whatever. And I was kind of like just, doing the kitchen beer thing, chit chatting with somebody. And then all of a sudden I heard like some KDJ shit come on or some other, and I was like, what the fuck, who's playing this? And this kid's in there doing it, and it was Rodney, and I was like, all right, I think at the time he was like 20 or something, so I was like, you're hired, like pretty, because like, you're always looking for somebody to pass the baton to, kind of the next generation kind of thing. And so I was like, all right, so he was one, so he really pushed me to launch the label, which I always had in mind, and so he helped me with that. So this was his first debut track, We Still Dancin', and we basically made the track in our studio in Point Winona, and it was a dope, just kind of instrumental house cut. He's good on the keys, he's actually a piano player, really good on the keys and chords, so it's just this cool vibey kind of like like a chord based house track. And then it was like cool, and we left it at that, right? We're like, all right, we walked away, this is a sick instrumental house cut. And then we're like, yeah, we gotta say some shit on this, like we gotta like we gotta, like, because house cuts are cool. It's like, it's like we could just like, we gotta say some shit. And so we actually started out, we were just like in one of those moods, we're like, we just started talking shit, like calling people out, and we're just like, and so I just did like kind of freestyled that, like rattled it off my head, like, if you think it's all to get high and the escape's the only prize, we dancing for different reasons. We dancing for different reasons. If you've never been called a slur, let alone from both sides of the curb, we dancing for different reasons. So it was like a spoken word kind of like shit talk call out. I came up on Gil Scott Heron and Last Poets. I love all that, man. And so I was like, so it started out like that. And then, Rodney being kind of like, younger and a little less jaded, perhaps, was like, this is cool, but we got to like, can we give it a little like positive spin? Like, you have something so it's not, you're not just like literally just like shooting shots at everybody. So it was like dancing for different reasons. And then it was like, all right, dancing. It's kind of following like the chords. And then it's like, oh, we're still dancing. So we might be dancing for different reasons, but the good news is no matter what, we're all still dancing.
True.
So it was like, it kind of brought it full circle back to being more of like an uplifting kind of collective thing. And it's house music with a message. Who knew? That's what it always was. But along the way we got a little far from the Garden of Eden at some point. you ask 20 different people what house music is, you're gonna get 25 different answers.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a dope song, man. Like when I heard it, I was like I actually didn't hear it. It's like, because for those that don't know, I was out in LA October.
Mid-October.
Yeah, I went out to play, and then I had to link up with my man, so it was like, yo, and I had the dopest time, like for my little day and a half it was there. Like, I was like, yo, Mark, where can I go? He's like, yo, go here, go eat here, check it out, and we linked up, man. And so it was cool, man. He got I met Rodney. Like my hotel was around the corner from Rodney's house where he was staying at. So he was like, yo, Rod, gonna come get you. I was thinking it's super far. He was 5 minutes away and stuff. So he came, we went back to his house and chilled. And I actually met him. And I didn't know how young he was until we actually were talking something in conversation. He was like, yeah, I did this and that. I was like, wait, how old are you? But he doesn't seem young, you know what I mean? All this stuff and music, like you said, he's a cool cat and he knows a lot of stuff. And strangely enough, he has a lot of connections with a lot of Detroit people.
Yeah.
A lot.
That was one of the job requirements,
Yeah, for real.
For elbow grease, it was it's kind of one of those things where it's where did techno come from? Okay, good.
Right,
First
right.
there. Correct.
I gave you guys copies of my release that was coming out, and then the one previous to that, and he was like, oh yeah, oh, I seen that. I'm like, where'd you see that from? He's like, no, when you gave it to Claude, right? Claude Young. I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I was at Claude's house when he got it. So I'm just kind of oh, how do you know Claude?
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't get that far, but he's one of the coolest dudes. So I mean, I just had a good time, man. And he came out. He took me to the compound. I met his other homies and stuff, and they played me some tracks and like stuff that you one of the most dopest musician people I personally know.
Oh man.
Flat out, he does everything. He can sing. He plays all mad instruments. They got these dope ideas. He was actually playing me stuff. It wasn't even it wasn't dance music at all, but it was dope. You know what I mean? So we just sitting there and stuff. You dope, bro. So I gotta get you on the show for sure, though. But
oh man, thanks. It's an honor. Hey, I'm here with two legends here. Come on, too.
Hey.
And Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo represent. We are the in-betweeners a little bit. We out here. We Cali kids. I mean, that's one of the things. It's we're kind of misfits a little bit. Saying that we're not from. This isn't New York or Chicago or Detroit. It's the West Coast. It doesn't. I remember who was it? I think it was Qbert of the Scratch Pickles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Qbert,
yeah, Filipino homie, Daly City. He said something in an interview years ago where he was like, we on the West Coast, we're bastards, we're hip hop bastards, because that's not New York, it's not the Bronx, so we just do it different. We have to do it differently. We don't have a choice, So. I don't know. I think that's what. So I think this crew kind of like that, right? You guys are literally halfway between Chicago and Detroit. You did your own thing, doing it your own way. Yeah. Sonic Mind, Black Nation, all that. Dude, Jay's records are just. In fact, I think the first I saw Claude the first time in '96, and that shit just sent me. I was like, all right, well, my whole shit changed. I was working on hip hop at the time, primarily. And I went and saw that shit, and I was like, oh well. Sharp left turn,
No.
And then I saw Jay do I think it was a live set. It was him and Neil Landstrom both doing live sets at it. And I was just like, oh well, shit, I gotta get more of the records now. I gotta get a 909. Really, so those are two big transformative early moments for me. So salute to both of you guys too.
Okay.
I appreciate that, man.
All those reform records, and now we got the MF stuff and 7-inch is sick. I love that one.
Oh, you like it? Thank you.
Yeah, that's the vibe. And I also love that people are rocking 7s again. I've always loved that format. And sometimes you get some electronic cuts here and there, but that's cool that you're rocking that. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So I know. Well, the name. Explain the name. Because
the Dave Aju.
When we first met, I always got your real name, because we met in Berlin like years ago, and through Lenny Paso.
Oh, Lenny.
Yeah,
Lenny
so
B.
Lenny. So we were just talking, and it's like blah 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 blah. Mark. I'm like, who's Mark?
That's the usual situation.
So it was like the reverse, because you know what I mean. So how'd you come up with the name?
It was kind of a funny story. So before that, when I was DJing, I was using the name Leko, which is short for Maleko, which is like my name in like Hawaiian. My grandfather's like Hawaiian Filipino. And so that was what I was using for years. And then we were doing, there was a gig that we were doing with a bunch of friends, like an experimental night. And it was like, everybody had to kind of come up with a new name. We're like, let's just come up with new names. But the names, I wanted a name that sounds like, kind of those like prank call shits, like just in case, or Seymour Butts, that kind of thing. I always love that kind of tongue in cheek shit. And I was actually trying to think of one, and these other guys had these great new names, and I was like, shit. And I was actually listening to a track called Gimbo's Theme by Brooklyn hip hop crew named the Arsonists. Great MCs. That was on Bobito's Fondulum label. Remember that shit?
My favorite groups, bro.
Fire label, like one of the best ever. And there's a track that they have on there, and Destroy, one of the main, who also has an amazing podcast for you hip hop heads out there. He basically repeats the same line at the end of the verse that he does at the beginning of the verse, except he flips some of the words, the first letter of the word backwards, and at the end he's all, hold on, that's Dave Aju. And the guy's like, don't you mean deja vu? And I heard the name and I was like, that's it.
That's it.
That's the motherfucker right there. Because he's like, hold on, that's Dave. Because he says, he says Dave Aju. So it's deja vu, basically, but inverted, right?
Right.
So when I was younger, and this was 25 years ago. So basically with the old name, I was vibing, it was me and it was cool. But as soon as I threw this in there, the phone started ringing. And like people, I was like, there's some energy to this, I think like that kind of playfulness of it, and also just like the perfectly confusing, like, is that your real name or not thing, kind of like,
right,
well, my middle name is David, so it kind of works, right? So there's a little bit of that too, but and I just ran with it, shit, and that was 25 years ago, and I just kind of kept it. Plus, to me, it's important that it ties in with my hip hop roots, and that's kind of like an important thing for me, even though I operate primarily, if not strictly, in more of the electronic world. I was pretty serious hip hop head, and that was definitely my roots in producing and in music and everything. So I just love that little backstory ties in with that culture. I love that those things are connected. Even if somebody else goes, "Oh, that's just a joke about deja vu," cute. They don't need to know that. I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So just kind of just ran with it.
That's dope, man. Because like for real, I was literally listening to that album like about a week ago at work.
Oh, word. The Arsonist album.
Yeah. My favorite is the Fat Laces joint.
Oh yeah, that one's tight.
That's what shit.
What's the one where they really rip? It's a Blaze and Amaze, I think it's called. And they're just like, just rapid fire. You're just like, God damn. I remember. Well, it's the same kind of thing. It's like when I saw Claude DJ, I'm like, man, I got some practicing to do.
Right.
It's like you hear those MCs, because I started out mainly as a producer in the hip hop world, and then I would bring these beats to like the freestyle battles or the ciphers, and everyone's kicking it, and they'd go, "Oh, jump in." And I was like, "Actually, I'm all right. I don't know if you guys are whack or I'm good, but this is cool. Let's get in." So I started getting more into doing the lyrics and stuff too. So when I'd hear like Arsonist, all that Fondulum stuff, or the early Rocka stuff, Company Flow and all that shit, I was like, I got some practicing to do.
Right.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing, Like you hear those high watermark examples of shit, and that's what makes you want to really, really get to it.
Yeah.
So the Arsonist, man. So that's why I like the name, because it ties back into that.
Okay.
We can all relate to the hip hop, being hip hop heads, man, because that's that's basically the start.
Yeah. Well, that's what's dope about with Myles and with Rodney. We're all like talking about like which catalog, which Black Nation record, and then it's like, oh, but that that sound bites, loop pack shit. No, you can just switch. So that's also part of the assignment, and for me, it's always been so linked and connected, the idea of genre tags in general. I have to remind a lot of my students. I teach at MI here in Hollywood, and I teach production to some of these younger students, and a lot of them are so preoccupied. They go like, what is the genre I'm making? Like, what they want to know what genre it is, that like subgenre, even subgenre.
Wow.
Before they make the piece of music. And I'm like, look, we got the cart way before the horse here. Like, genres were invented for marketing. You know, they were like, so when you walk into the record shop, it's like, oh, blues, jazz, pop, you know, so you know where to go to buy. But nobody who's ever made anything amazing is like genre tagging their shit at the start, you know? And the difference is, and you know, once I'm showing these students, like, the difference between genres is literally a BPM and which note that kick drum and snare are on in a MIDI sequence. So you take the same exact track, drop it 15 BPMs, and take the second and fourth kick drum out, and it's a different genre. That's how close everything is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, so it's for me, it's always been like that. So I've been able to keep up with the different scenes or different genres just because it's all music, man. You know, it's all linked.
At the end of the day,
it's
just all. So, man, you got to take me back, man. I got to know. What was the day-to-day life like for you growing up, you know, as a youngster? And what is the day-to-day life like for you now, you know, as a full-grown adult? I can be funny, but you know, take me to the world, to the mind of Dave, so I can get to know this guy.
Well, one of my, it's funny you mentioned about that as a full-grown adult part, because I constantly have this conversation with myself, and definitely with wifey, obviously. You know, whereas, like, I think it was Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. I think he was like, he had this great story about when he was a kid, he saw like Queen perform or something, right?
Okay.
And he says to his mom, he goes, "Mom, I want to be a musician when I grow up." And she goes, "Honey, you can't do both." And I was like, yeah, you know. And so, you know, when I tell my students, you know, I've got students here at MI, and they find out, you know, I'm 48 years old, they lose their shit. Like, what? Like, how, you know, because, you know, doing this music shit, it kind of keep, you know, the energy's there, the fire's there. I feel like internally, especially when doing music and collaborating with homies and like releasing the music and hoping it inspires other people, I feel like I'm still 15. Like, doing it for it's just as hype as I was then inside. You know, physiology changes. I got sciatica blues. I got, you know, all sorts of, you know, I just had my second colonoscopy. You know, it's like, you know, reality strikes, obviously, in the physical realm, in the time realm, but internally, man, some days I'm like, damn, I haven't changed at all, but that's a good thing. You know, it's like, I'm still that young kid that's just chasing that fire dream to, like, you know, when I hear that track cut to wax, I go, oh, I made that shit. Listen to that shit, you know? And we'll just forever be chasing that. I'll forever be chasing that. And that's the beauty of it. The chase is the joy. The chase. And now I would say, you know, the biggest, to go back to Donnell's question, I think the biggest difference now is that when I was a kid chasing that, I was like, you know, looking at all these heroes, Claude, you know, Theo, you know, all these different, Andrew Weatherall, all these amazing, you know, and kind of that, and getting inspired by it and comparing everything I'm doing to everything that they had done. Like, oh man, like I said, I got to practice. That's like my theme for the day, apparently. So like, all right, we got to practice more. And eventually, you know, and I realized I got to say no to the after party. I got to commit to this shit and like really get in. And so I did that, almost like extracted myself socially from society on some level. That's how serious I got about this shit. You can ask some of my early friends, but when they're saying this, they know exactly, you know who you are, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. I would be like, nope, I'd cut it off. Just went almost like, you know, like Buddhist monk level, like, commitment to this shit, right? Because I don't like half-assing shit. My dad taught me that. He said, if you can do anything, don't half-ass it, right? And so, you know, I did it, and then records started coming out. Responses started coming in. It was great. It was a great time. And, you know, playing a lot of shows, did a lot of touring, you know, been everywhere but Antarctica, you know, I'm pretty happy about that. And now full circle, you know, and, you know, going back to Claude, like the reason Rodney's at Claude's house too is because, you know, a lot of us, that he's one of our favorite dudes, and he's cool as fuck. He's just a cool cat, you know, and he's tight with like VCOS from Black Lodge and some of the homies here. You know, and in my mind, and this kind of goes back to a hip hop thing too. It's like, I never wanted to like impress the masses. I just wanted my heroes to like my shit. You know what I mean? I want to like inspire my peers the way that they've inspired me. And I think like in the hip hop world, it was always like, you just want to get that dap from the dude that, is, that's enough. And I don't need a goddamn Grammy. I don't need to like sell out a stadium. I definitely don't want my phone ringing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want the time to make the music. So now, having done all of that, Matthew Herbert, Claude Young, Pepe Braddock, these guys were my music heroes, and now they're all homies, and I put out records with them, and they play all my shit, and we talk regularly.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, I already won the lotto. So I basically came back from Europe and came back to LA because, man, I needed taco trucks and reggae and black women, and things that you just you don't see enough in Europe. I just needed to come home and get some more sun, color, literally, and now it's like I'm helping inspire the next generations of people to do this, to get theirs. It's like it's sort of a blessing to be like, shit, I had a target, I took aim at it, and I got it. Now I've got this time, and I've got this experience, and I've got this energy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's spread it, let's share it. Like, I want somebody else to go play Panorama Bar a few times, like I've got to. I don't need to go again and again and again. There's plenty to go around, I think.
Yeah.
So the biggest difference now is that I've still got the energy of that 15-year-old kid that was like, whose jaw dropped when he saw Claude Young play for the first time. But now I've actually walked that walk, brought it all the way back, and now I'm trying to share it to the next.
Yeah.
This studio that we've got, this Point Winona space, is really special because, Myles saw that shit. It's basically like a 6-bedroom, like Eichler mansion at the top of the hills.
That's crazy.
It's pretty amazing. And I grew up, like Myles brothers are like, probably like, if somebody like, gun to the head, Desert Island was like, you can only listen to the work of one producer for the rest of your life. Myles brothers would probably be mine. That Blue Note era, like the kind of mid 70s stuff, Blackbirds, Donald Byrd, all that stuff. It's like, that just hits all the spots for me. And I remember seeing, I don't remember if it was like an album cover of theirs, but there was an image because their studio was also up here in the Hollywood Hills. And there was a picture of them like next to their 2 black Porsches up in the driveway of this hillside studio. And I remember just being like, someday, man, I'm gonna get that shit. So this is the closest thing to that I think we'll ever have. It overlooks the city. You see all that, and you're up in the, and the room that we work in primarily is not the most technical room. And this is a good reminder of that shit. Like, I've had far more technical studio spaces.
Yeah.
But the vibe is everything.
Yeah.
The tech. Yeah. I mean, this even goes into just speaking about music and production in general, right? Like form is important. Polish is great, but the message and the content are always number one, Mm-hmm. No content, no form needed, right? So, but so the Point Winona studio is great because there's a lot of amazing artists here in LA that, are genius DJs, or they know music front and back, and a lot of them even more than I do. And they've just never jumped in the studio. They've never, put their own name on a track on a record that they bought. And I just know how good that shit feels, and I just want them to experience that. So we bring in a lot of, I say younger artists, but some of them are older than me in age. It's just younger in the experience of releasing music, right?
Right. Right.
And they're coming in, and I just see their eyes light up, and I'm like, there it is. That's it. That's me at 15. Like, the look on their face when they hear their track that they made, coming through a sound system, the same face I made when I saw Claude when I was 15. Like,
Yeah.
So that's it. That ties it all back together. So we're putting out a new compilation actually next month. It's a good plug moment, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's so my partner Tavish, part of Warehouse Preservation Society. We do a thing called Discos XXX. We throw occasional underground parties here in LA. So he and I basically curated this compilation. It's all just LA fam working together, under one studio roof, and in different configurations, which is cool. 2 or 3 different people on one track, 5 people on it, and one of the tracks is a new artist, of course, because it doesn't exist before, called 5 ATMs. And it's like a shout out. It's a shout out to 3 chairs.
Oh wow!
Rodney was like 5 ATMs. Like so the artist name is 5 ATMs. And the track, by the way, is called A Dub Called Mondo, which is like a spinoff of a club called Rondo, which is like a club institution here in LA. So the whole thing is like that. That's the vibe of the whole thing. Again, kind of like playful, creative, collaborative kind of stuff. And it's amazing, man. In fact, on Friday, we just had like an artist dinner up there at Point Winona to kind of celebrate
Yeah, I just see. I was actually kind of hating on that.
Man, Griff and I cooked it up. We did surf and turf 2 ways.
Oh wow!
So we had Wagyu tri-tip. We'll just get into some food shit for a minute because Myles knows I'm a food fanatic as well. It's a close second after music. So yeah, we did a lime marinated Wagyu tri-tip, and then we did a habanero orange marinated flank steak. So for the hot one. And then we did 2 types of prawns. We did camarón sala diabla, which is the fiery one with the chipotle chilies and shit. And then we did camarones mojo de ajo, which is just kind of like the garlic butter, like the more savory kind of. So basically, like, in other words, spicy and mild. 2 types. We ran both ways. So yeah, it was a vibe. It was a good meal. It was a good, but
but don't let him try to downplay that. It was a vibe. You should have seen it. I just see the pictures today. I was like, this mother. bad people, like the way that house is set up too. It's like one of I've never been to LA, so I've seen this. Like, yeah, we live in the hills, so he took me up to the hills and shit. And like you would see like stuff on TV. You think LA. It was that, bro. This pretty much. I'm looking down like at the city, and I see a street going winding down. I'm just sitting here like thinking like, yeah. And he's like, yo, you check out the view.
It all comes back, man. Myles brothers, man. I'm like, we did it. We're here. I just need a black Porsche now. We can just seal the deal. Might have to get one. Yeah,
I'm sure you get one soon. Very soon. But I'm hating. Damn it.
Yeah, hey.
There's food on these people, and then like the house is set up like in levels. Kitchen, and then it's like a level like above the kitchen. And so if you see the picture, because this is all on Instagram. This is how he fronting like that a little bit, but he's like making a speech and shit. Everybody's down below. It's like, oh hell, man. I wish I was there one day.
Oh man.
Well, hey, it's funny because I've had several, especially LA friends, be like, "Thanks for the invite," kind of shit. And like, and they're not wrong, but they are, because this was just for the compilation artists. It was an artist dinner. We wanted to treat this specific team that came together to do this, and again, some of these guys have been doing this longer than I have. Some of them are more brand new, and some of them just kind of operate in slightly different fields and different, subgenres or scenes. We're bringing them all together. And so it was a treat. It was a treat for that. So, I say to you, Myles, and anybody else out there, this is just volume 1 of the compilation. You want to come to the cookout, get on volume 2 or volume 3. The only rule is you got to come to Point Winona and make the track with us. That's the only rule. And we got guest bedrooms. Myles knows that.
Yeah.
We got 2 guest bedrooms. So it also operates like an artist commune. That's kind of what we wanted it to be.
Okay.
So heads can come stay for as many days as you want. We got, a barbecue grill yard. We got a pool. It is a vibe.
It is.
Well,
I know where I'm going when I come out there.
Yes. There we go. Now we're talking.
I'm telling you. Oh, man.
Y'all are always welcome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because anytime I get a chance to work on music
and eat
somewhere while I'm traveling, that's
I'm all with that. And it's it's in Los Feliz here, which is like pretty, for those who don't know LA, how it's kind of built. It's like the north end of kind of the center. So it's outside of Hollywood, but it's just above Silver Lake and Echo Park. It's centrally located. You jump over to go to the valley. Fly into Burbank, y'all. Don't fly into LAX.
That's
a good tip.
Smaller airport. It's closer to us, 10 minutes instead of driving an hour across town. There's also a bomb-ass Cuban bakery next to it. So when I pick you guys up at the airport, we hit the Cuban bakery first.
There you go.
Before we go to the point. So that's step 1. This spot's getting sweeter by the minute. I should just be buying flights right now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I gotta get back to Kalamazoo first and visit my family, and then from there I'll come over. Right? I wouldn't come straight from Poland.
Yeah. Where are you now, Donnell? Where are you
I'm basically based in Warsaw.
Oh, you are in Poland. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Yeah, a lot of people. Some people didn't know. Some people later like, I didn't know you was out there. Like, yeah, because I don't be publicizing it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Kind of be doing
and what made you choose Warsaw? What was the draw there?
I had a lot of gigs back in the days, like over in the early to mid 2000s. I started just gigging over here in I was sometimes having like 8 gigs a month
Yeah.
in this country, and I was getting paid the same, so I wasn't trying to leave, really like go somewhere else and play when I just played here. And then after some years of that, I just ended up staying because, you know, in Poland, there's a lot of things for expats to do other, you know, besides music. There's many ways you can make money over here. Some people come over here and teach. Some people do movie stuff. Some people work for American companies over here. And at the time, I had everybody. I was trying to be different too, because everybody I knew was going to Berlin.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I'm always the guy. I don't want to do what everybody's doing.
Right.
So let me go. You know, I'll try to settle in over here, and it was cheaper, economically wise at the time. Poland was, man, I was really saving my money, and everybody was in Berlin. Man, it's kind of expensive. Well, it was cheaper back then too, but compared to what they were paying, I was paying a fraction of that. And you know, let's be honest too, the girls in this country, most people, you know, Eastern Europe, at least for the eye candy.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Every day that was for me.
I hear that completely.
Know? And Berlin is only about 5 hours on the train down the road anyway. So
that's right. Or
I just come over there, have my fun, come back here and do my thing. And then I just ended up just staying a lot longer than I thought it was, you know, but I was going back home often too. It wasn't like in the beginning, I would be here 2 months and I go back to be in Kalamazoo, you know, for 3 months and come back here, be here 3 months and go back to Kalamazoo, just back and forth. I did that for a lot of years too. And then later I said, okay, this is getting a bit much, you know, back and forth. So then it turned out I'd be here more. And then in Kalamazoo less, you know, more like Kalamazoo for vacation, and then here longer times doing stuff.
Yeah, when I actually lived in Berlin for a bit. That's when Myles and I first met. I was out there for about 5 years. And I had a spot, you know, that I was renting, you know, with a couple other friends that we would go to. I would go stay there when I would play there. You know, I'd start playing there more, and it was the same kind of thing. I just started playing more and more out there that I was like, wait, I'm already over here more days of the year than I'm not. It just made sense. And then eventually it's the opposite started happening. So I'd be like, you know, I'd come home for like just twice a year. Then it would be like 3 times a year, 4. And then it would be longer and longer stays. And so it was kind of just like natural, kind of gravitational to come back. Plus, you know, I met speaking of Eastern Bloc, I met my Russian wifey actually here in LA, but while I was out there. And so that was also a good reason to come back and kind of, you know, put the tent stakes back at home. You know, there's so many things I love about the old world life, you know, in Europe. There's so many things that like the States have entirely twisted. You know, I don't even think we have the time to list all of them. But there's so many things. But at the same time, going back, I think maybe it was backstage when we were talking a little while ago, but you know, that period where I was touring the most and playing the most was the least happy I was with the music I was making. There's a direct correlation with your phone ringing and like playing all these gigs and being on the hustle and like not getting your creative time in, you know? So in other words, quite frankly, the music that I made while I was out there and playing all the time, 4 times a week, sometimes 3 cities in a night. I even pulled that shit off one time. You know, the music I was making then was functional and it was for the biz. It didn't really, you know, it didn't hit, at least to me, you know, and even knowing my intentions in it, it didn't, you know, I just feel far more honest and creative as a creator of music being home in California. Yeah. And even if that means less gigs, so be it. But, you know, that was kind of the big differentiation in my mind. You know, it's like I was talking about this actually on Friday with a few people about how in Europe, and this goes back to like jazz days, right? That was like a lot of my dad used to tell me about a lot of his friends that were touring and stuff. Same kind of thing where it's like why do they treat us so good out there? And the thing is I think like art, like music, right? Music, which is art, like basically art has been part of the fabric of the society there for so long. We're talking like kings would commission artists to do work. Or Michelangelo, come paint the Sistine Chapel. Like artists were exalted as a necessary and part of society. You know, so it's like artist, dentist, lawyer, doctor. It's on that same list. Now here in the States, it's not quite the same, right? If you're a respected artist, that means you're commercially viable. Is what that means. Art is how much are you making off that art. The term starving artist only exists in the States. Nobody calls an artist starving anywhere else on the planet. It's like, oh, you're an artist? Thank you. Yeah. That's how people in other parts of the world treat artists. They say, thank you for being an artist. Thank you for making art, whatever it is. Thank you for inspiring people. That's how the rest of the world treats artists. Yeah. The United States, it's like, how much you making off that? You going to starve? Like, are you mad at your parent? Oh, you must be mad at your parents. That's why you're an artist? Like, like, yeah. And that's the thing. So, but I think, you know, in all that kind of like ridiculous darkness of that is where the inspiration comes from. You know what I mean? Like, I was talking to a friend of mine, you know, from Stockholm, and like, you know, he's fired up a label. I went to his studio. He's got all this stuff. And he told me, he's like, yeah, he's like, you know, we wanted to start a label and start a studio. He started a studio. So they go into like the you know, city office, say we want to start a label and we need equipment. They go, cool. How much do you need? They're like, oh, we want to get this. They go, okay, here you go. Here's 10,000. Go ahead. Like, that's how it works. You know what I mean? So that's an entirely different way.
Artists, it's a different,
yeah.
They want to support arts and artistic people.
Right. So, you know, out here, very much a different, you know, tunes being sung like that, where you're like, you know, you're kind of up against all that shit. Like, I feel like that's why the underground scenes, especially in like, yeah, it's music, like we got knives in our teeth and shit. Like, we're up against like, there's more to say. There's more kind of like, there's more adversaries in a way. There's more like, you know, boss levels to navigate. And I think that makes us creatively work harder in a way. Like, we have to express that shit. You know, it's like, it doesn't come so easy. And you know, a lot of the times, like, you know, I know the best things in life are free and all that kind of shit, but like, what you put in, you get out, I think, the more so. You know? And the harder, you know, the harder the challenge, the harder you work, the more it's rewarding, you know? So I feel that was always the split for me. Like, Europe versus, I love playing out there. And, you know, who doesn't like being picked up at an airport and being taken to a dinner and like, you know, all this, not to mention the plus deals. It's funny. I picked up actually at MI. I actually teach. This is kind of ironic for those who really know me, but I teach a business class. It's more of a takedown of the business class at MI. I picked it up from my homie Mark Bell, Black Cat. He used to teach there, so I picked it up from him when he left. And it's funny because we talk about the all-in deal versus the plus deal, and these, you should see these kids' eyes. They're like, why doesn't everyone do the plus deal? I'm like, yeah, right. Because in the States, you're like all in. Okay, cool. Here's our budget, 2,000. That's what you get. And then we take the flight off that, and the car off that, the Uber off that, the you know, everything comes off that. Then your booking agent's 15-20% comes out of that. And then they're like, well, yeah. So you should see, and you're like, yeah, over there, it's like, we got 2,000 for you as the artist. Plus we'll pay the flight, plus you'll pay the hotel, plus your booking agent fee. Separate. And it's just like, it's wild to like, it's literally a 180-degree deal. Like, difference, you know? And it's just one of those things, man. The States are just like, it's funny like that, man. It's just like, it's the wild, wild west.
Right.
I mean, we're seeing more of that shit than ever. Like, if anyone's ever like wanted to say like, here in the States, but the rules don't apply, it's now. I mean, Jesus, look at this fucking last year. It's like we were saying, there's that shit on Front Street. Now they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Nope. They're like, we know we're wrong. And fuck you anyway. Fuck you anyways. Give us all your money. You know, so it's like, it's an interesting, it's definitely an interesting. So I think about, you know, going back to Donnell, how you're in Poland. I think about that shit sometimes. What it would have been like if I stayed in Europe, or like, where would I have gone? My guess is I would probably have navigated to somewhere slightly warmer, just because I'm a California. You know, I'm a weather wuss compared to you guys. You guys know what real winters are. It's February and it's 75 degrees here today. Sun's out. You know, so, you know, I would probably end up maybe in like Lisbon or Italy or Spain or something like that. But I think about it. I think about it enough where, like, especially this last year with this insane administration and stuff, I'm like, you know, I know everybody's like, all right, when do we pack our bags?
Right.
Or when is this crazy train going to like come back to the station? Or we're going to, you know, so I think about it a lot too, though. Yeah. I actually I kind of like Myles. I wish I was going out there a little bit more than I do now, probably.
Yeah.
I'm in Europe maybe once a year now, which
that's about the same.
Yeah, which is not enough, you know. But at the same time, it's cool, you know. Like,
you know, for me, it's like, you know, I got a 9-to-5 job too, so it's kind of like
exactly.
But I wish I was there more. But
yeah, Yeah.
So you guys wanting to go to Europe, and I'm thinking about trying to go other. I'm trying to think about going to other places, like other countries to start getting into. Man, that's been on my mind because I was telling Myles, I said, I'm not Europe out, I would say, but I've done so much here. I'm looking at places like India, Japan again. Asian countries like Africa, somewhere where maybe it'd be nice to just kind of build things slowly with the name, let them kind of discover me and do something different. But that's what my mindset has been lately, not even thinking about a lot of these European clubs or
not even thinking about the business side of it more than
because if something will come, like of course, if someone offers me a good deal, no problem. But I'm definitely not writing nobody or trying to flag them down or chase them down to get some gig or something. But if I get a bunch of promoters contacts in a different region of this planet, then I'll go ahead and start just introducing myself and let's try to like work out some kind of touring thing over there or something, So
the idea of being in another culture too, and you can kind of like get kind of like humbled by the difference of it. That's always like first time I went to Japan, I was just like, okay, this is a whole other other universe. I just remember back here and just like okay.
Japan was
we got a lot of practicing to do. Back to that again. Like
that was something else.
Like, what was that? There's like a famous quote where it's like, travel often, the closer you get to lost, the more you're found, or something like that. And I always love that. It's kind of like the humbling nature of other cultures that we're not as familiar with, and seeing the way they and shit in a lot of these cases, man, talk about India or China. I mean, these 5,000 years, like these dumplings you're eating have been on the recipe books for 5,000 fucking years. Think about that. I mean, America is like the teenager of the planet. If you think about it, America's got like the juicy sweats on, like running around the mall with the parents' credit card. That's what the US is. And like all these cultures are just like, their grandma and grandpa, their auntie, their Tio and Tia, and they're just like, yeah, that's right, bitch. Like, and I feel like now, actually, to keep the analogy going, I feel like now's the time, like, the teenagers just gotten through this phase and starting to go to college, and reality is striking, and now we just want to like cry and say sorry to our parents, some shit. It's like it's on that level. It's funny, man. It's like but I think I wish more people in the States knew, because in other parts of the world you have to do exchange programs. Like it's part of existence. Like I think literally everywhere, especially in Europe, parts of Asia, like you have to do like 1 year abroad. I think it's like a requirement, and I wish more people in the States could see other things, because that's, and I think that's one of the issues that's predominant here, is that it's one dimensional vision. It's tunnel vision. Like
that's one
thing.
You
don't get to, So I wish it was a little more of a like supported or pushed, that people, I mean, even like some of my family members, I got family members that I've never seen another country, for example. And to me, that's wild as shit. I mean, we're blessed because we've gotten to like not only travel, but travel doing what we love to do it. So that's like double blessed,
Yeah.
But I remember the first times I would see other countries, I'm like, man, everybody should go see something, go see the Taj Mahal, go see the Great Wall, go get lost somewhere, go to the Australian outback in a Jeep and see what happens, whatever, it's like, because that'll just reshape everything, right? That's what reshapes our perspective on things. You're like, okay, I am just one man in one blip of time.
You start to realize real quick just how blessed you are too when you go some places. You be like, wow. And I was up here. I'm a spoiled brat. I'm up here crying because I didn't get that keyboard or something, or I couldn't get this app or this thing for that. And somebody over here having real issues.
Right. That's the other thing. Yeah, you see some real shit.
Yeah,
you're like, wow, we are pretty silver spoon fed.
But that it just like you said, man, it just made me realize, seeing a lot of places, that hey, you're not handicapped, you're mentally capable, so you should be making music as much as you can.
Right.
When you can. Like if you're gonna buy this gear, you're gonna have stuff, as you said, don't half-ass it. Get to it. I mean, life does get in the way. But I figured, I said, hey man, no matter what's going on, I'm gonna make sure that I at least do something, even if it's just 10 minutes. If that's all I got. Like, and that's what kind of recently got me into iPad music again, because I thought, okay, if I can't turn on my studio, then at least I can open up that dang on iPad and start doing something. Then I can finish on the computer later, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's been the greatest thing ever to rediscover that. But people out there, if you're listening, man, trust me. If you can see, you can walk, you can talk, you can hear, you have it good. Just get in the studio, sit in that chair, make the music. Don't think about the gigs, all this other stuff. Just think about putting in 150% into that track or that song, whatever you're going to do. If you're just going to sit there and make a kick drum for an hour or whatever, but 150% to it, and you'll be surprised what the music will do for you, where it'll take you.
You heard it here first. Man, I want all that. I want all that on a t-shirt.
Right.
That's like the realest paragraph I've heard in a really long time.
So tell us about the school, man. Like, you're teaching these new. You're teaching production. So, what's the starting point from this? Like, I'm just coming into school. It's this production class. What should I expect? And like, how are you going about it from like day one?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's Musicians Institute. It was originally like Guitar Institute, I think, in the 70s. It's kind of like the West Coast, kind of Berkeley. I know they would say it as an equivalent. It's kind of like that. So it's like a classic, music institution, basically. And of course, over time, they've always had an audio engineering department, of course. So there's like, so for mixing and mastering and all and tracking, they would always have that. And then everything else it would be, for instrumentalists primarily, right? So drummers, guitars, and then over time, they started like adopting like a DJ program. And then the DJ program has now evolved into EMP, which is electronic music production. And I've been there for about 7 years now, maybe 8 years, maybe. And have watched that whole thing just turn. Like, so when I first got there, the DJ program was there and people were kind of like, oh, I'm in the, guitar program, but I'd like to try to learn how to DJ. It was like that. Now it's like completely, taken off, and I got students coming in with genres I've never heard of. That's part of the love of this thing too, right? Is they're showing me a lot of shit that I wouldn't know anything about. It keeps it fresh,
Right.
One of the things that I love about teaching and about the students is like for them, they haven't had their dreams deferred or their souls crushed by booking agents or the industry or anything yet, So to them, it's like they're like, music is magic, and I'm like, God damn it, you're right, it is magic,
Right.
And how it gets. Like we, my peers and myself, we can get jaded pretty quick. We've been around the block, we heard it, we've seen it, we've been stepped on enough times, And for them, they haven't got there yet. So for them, it's just about giving that 150%. It's just about making the art. It's just about how excited they are to witness themselves finishing a piece of music. And that's like some super inspiring shit. It's a good reminder, that's in all of us still, to take it back to that. Like, the wonderment of creating something inspirational or being inspired by something and inspiring somebody else is like, money can't buy that kind of shit. You can't put price tags on stuff like that. That's unquantifiable real life shit. That's the good stuff. That's why we do this. And so, I get students of all stripes. I think predominantly it's like post high school, like college age, it's probably average age, like 19, 20. But we also get a lot of foreign students. We get a lot of, what's actually really dope is we get a lot of veterans because MI is one of the few creative institutions, accredited colleges, in other words, that accepts the GI Bill. So we get a lot of veterans, which is super inspiring. Like, some of these guys, some of them have been out in the field and you can feel it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They've done tours like I've done other kinds of tours, and now they're in the studio making music and their eyes really light up. And that's always inspiring too. Cause they're like, I'm one of the guys who like, I was doing a tour in Afghanistan and the shit was exploding. And all I was thinking about is how I want to write a song. Yeah. Type shit. And you're just like, man, this is real, right? This is the heaviness. But I think basically how it works, like in any school, I guess, is the students send in, they apply for the school and they send in like a I think it's 2 demo tracks you have to submit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like, you know, the way you would apply for any college, like some kind of CV, kind of a background thing. And then based on those, you get accepted. And, you know, and of course it's like, you know, I have the spectrum. You know, I'll have some students that are like come in and be like, what's a quarter note, or what's a kick drum, or what's a 2 and 4, you know, and then other ones that are just like, I made 18 tracks this weekend, here they are, you know, and you're just like, so, you know, there's a pretty broad spread of like not only work ethic and that kind of thing, but also just like experience. You know, it's kind of interesting to take, you know, in an academic institution to standardize stuff is tricky, you know, because in one class I'll have 2 kids that know more of the shit than I do, even though they're only 19. And then I'll have ones that are just kind of like what planet is this? Where am I? What are we doing here? You know, so it's kind of fascinating too, in a psychological sense, to like kind of figure out how to maneuver that, you know, with the different students. And man, some of these kids are just insanely talented. It's wild. But, you know, and it's also interesting to notice, this is a good conversation I had with a few of our compilation colleagues on Friday. What's really fascinating to me is like this younger generation, they don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't, they ain't having a lot of sex. I don't know that for a fact. It's right. We don't you know, breach those things, but it's an interesting period for young creative types. Like I swear, like 4 out of 5 of them just drink 3 Celsius a day. That's their high, and they just stay logged in. Like it's like Celsius in the phone. It's like those are the new. That's the new the weed and beer or whatever, you know. And so it's kind of fascinating to me, you know, that these
right,
and they're still making creative stuff. Like I had this one student who makes like this wild, like psychedelic, just trippy kind of like ambient stuff, but with kick drums under it, like really wild, like psychedelic techno kind of. And he's never been to a rave, never taken acid, never taken ecstasy, never been to a club. Doesn't, you know, you're just like, wow, this is a whole other. So they're really like coming from the inside out with this stuff. Like he's just like, you know, and then I started showing him shit like that we know.
Are you trying to
I was showing him some like, you know, like Claude and, you know, Ian O'Brien on 7th City, you know, some shit like that, or like New World Aquarium. And his head was just like, oh shit, other people make this stuff. It's like a totally different way of doing this.
Right.
Okay.
We would go to the record shop and I'd buy this shit and be like, well, first of all, I go to the record store and say to the homie at work and be like, yo, you got this track that goes or something that we heard over the weekend. But then you get the record, then you like hear it and you get inspired by it, and you don't want to mimic it, but you're definitely certain. I remember for a while I was like, how's Kerry Chandler get these fucking kick drums? We got to figure this out, you know. And just like, what is this New York compression shit they're talking, you know? And so we would build based on the things that were directly inspiring. And a lot of these kids are just like
doing it.
Yeah, he'd never heard any of that. And he was like, whoa, other people make this, you know. I got this another kid, he's a Chinese student, and he came in last quarter, and he's like, oh, I really like Tech House and Walker and Royce, and he was like, oh my god, cool, you know. One thing that's important about teaching students, especially like music students, art students, is like, you know, the key is that you don't want to impart your taste on them. It's their journey.
Right.
That's the most important. That's the thing to keep in mind. And I take that same perspective with like the compilation that we're doing, for example, where it's like, all right, this person's sound is going to be a little bit this way, a little different. You respect that. You foster their direction, not try to impart your own. It's pretty key. Not all the instructors do that. Let's just say that. But, you know, and so there's this Chinese kid, and he was like, and he said that, and he showed me, you know, he's like, oh, I just went to the Sound nightclub, heard walking, and then he played me these cuts, and I swear to God, it sounds more like DBX or like early Robert Hood shit, like really. And I was like, because you know he's saying Tech House and all this shit, and so I started playing those for him, and he's like, I ran down like the Accelerate back catalog and like early M-Plant shit, and like you know, he's making, or even like early Casual, you know, Relief, all the Relief. He was losing his mind on these Relief records. That was the shit. I'm like, bro, you're making this shit. This is what you're actually making.
Right.
Yeah. He had never heard any of it, but it was sick shit. It was like jacky, bleepy, like stripped down shit. And he, in his mind, because all you see on, you know, I guess, I don't know, RA or wherever he looks for, he's like,
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, like, come to the house night, Walker and Royce, you know, Chainsmokers live at the Wynn at Las Vegas. And like, and these kids are like, they know good shit, but that's what's being offered to them. So they assume that that's all there is, right? It's just kind of a fascinating, kind of just thing to witness, because you're like, oh shit, yeah, this is not the way we came to this. But what's interesting is that they're still arriving. They're just they got a different route to get there, but they're still, that's the thing. Yeah.
Well, it also proves that what Mike Bank always says, that Pharrell too, the music is there already, and whoever tunes in, the music must come out. So it seeks it. Okay, this person is tuned in. Let me get the sound out coming through him. And as you said, this kid is sounding like Rob Hood or someone back in the day, and he doesn't know it. He's just tuned in. I can imagine Myles and I were back in the days too. We were just tuned in. We weren't trying to sound like somebody, but yet if you hear some of the music, okay, it could kind of sound like something from Detroit or Chicago or Infused. But we weren't actually, trying to do that. Like these kids now, they're just doing their thing. So it just proves that the music actually lives there anyway. And somebody, doesn't matter who, I guess it is, the music is saying, I have to come out to the world, and whether it's going to be from you or that person. So it goes back to what I'm saying. Show up every day.
That's right. Discipline.
To see something might come through, guys. You miss when you don't show up, you miss opportunities.
And I've always loved that idea and the concept that, and I feel like most really effective artists in whatever field they're working in kind of think this way. I've noticed that we're just the messengers. The real creators are the ones that recognize that the music exists, and if anything, we're just helping deliver that word. We're just one of many people in a pantheon of messengers that are just trying to help deliver the message. Like we're the Amazon delivery guys, right, of music, not we are music. I think at some point, once your ego kind of gets checked like that, and then you really start respecting music, that's when you really start shining. That's when the music gets really good. When you know that you're not bigger than it is when it really gets good. I think that's and this is something that we teach the kids all the time, to remind them of that. They come in really concerned about what genre they're making or how many tickets they're going to sell. Like literally while they sit down to key in the first bass line, they're like, where's this going to be played? Like, will this play? They're already they've got so much of fixation on the finish line, so we just try to remind them the process, enjoy the process. Making music's cathartic, man. It's my therapy. I don't need a therapist. I got music. It's like that kind of shit, right?
How many kids are in your class?
There's a couple different sized ones. The business class that I took over from Mark Bell is probably about 15 students average, quarter to quarter, 10 to 15. And then I have a couple other, there's a sound design one that I do sometimes that's 5 to 10 usually, but the really interesting classes are literally one-on-ones. So they're basically private lessons. So it's me and just one student. The most of my schedule is that it's me and one student in the studio. They show me what they're working on, and I help them finish it. Help them get it
over from Mark Bell, the Mark Bell,
not LFO Mark Bell, Black Cat Mark Bell. Yeah, that's another that one comes. He's a label called Shaboom. He's a West Coast guy, originally North England, but other.
You also help people online too. Do you also help?
Yeah, we do Zoom classes. So during the pandemic, like everybody else, we're like, all right, we're not holding physical classes. So we actually had to build the MI online whole site from scratch. They didn't offer that prior to the pandemic. Okay. Then the pandemic was it became only online, like it was for a lot of us. And then I got to what was cool about that period is I got to redesign a lot of the curriculum, for the online classes. And quick little note for all of you fans of licensing and stuff out there. I was always wondering this when I was in college or high school. The textbooks that have all the names on them, the who made the math. You get royalties anytime a class is taught with something that you wrote. I never knew that. Yeah, so I had a nice couple. I had a 4-year contract with a nice little sprinkle on top. I had 4 good Christmases, let's say. So that's a little side note. But the online classes basically they took off, and of course more international students. So on Wednesdays, just to cut my week in half, so I don't have to go into crazy ass Hollywood all week long. I just teach Zoom classes from home for the students that are in other states or countries or whatever. Yeah, it's a cool way to do it. A lot of us are more tactile learners or whatever, but some of these Zoom classes are great. And you know, so some of these, you know, a lot of the younger students are, you know, more technologically, well, I would say adept, but dependent, maybe, let's say. And so yeah, they get into it. You know, we're Zoom, you're like sharing the screen. They're like, all right, here's my, you know, here's my
sound
session.
card, the sound, the screen, the mouse, and everything. So you can totally.
Yeah. So we're just working there. Like, oh, let me take over your. Okay, try this. This is too much reverb. You know, kind of. And you can basically just run it like that. So it's been cool. I like both. Of course, I like being in the room with them, especially to get the vibe. But the Zoom stuff is cool. It's been kind of a blessing for that. You know, and the other thing too, I talked to the students about this, is like in that era, you know, online performances like Twitch and all these kind of platforms really took off. And now you got heads that are on there, you know, and they have no plan on ever stopping. And that, you know, I was talking to one friend who's like, I'm making about as much on that as I did when I was touring. So he's like, I don't need to tour anymore.
Right.
You know, like if you look at shit like, or like, what's that, the NPR, you know, the Tiny Desk concert,
right?
That whole thing. So that shit started out as like, I think it started out as like a what do you call that? Like a morale boosting thing that they did for the employees or something once a month. They're like, who's y'all's favorite band? And they'd be like, I don't know, Modest Mouse or whatever shit. And then they'd be like, well, here they're going to play in the office for you guys. It started out just like that. And now I heard from somebody that they get like 500 hit-ups a day from different agents trying to get their artists on it. You got Bruce Springsteen up in that bitch trying to get on there. You got like, you know, it's like all sorts of people want to be in that tiny ass office to do, because like that online performance has become legendary. They're not saying they want to play in Madison Square Garden. They want to play on the Tiny Desk office and shit.
Exactly. You know? Just like horror, like the horror Berlin thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, everybody wants to get in there, and it is. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. It's hard to get in there. I mean, because it's just so many emails. So it's nothing personal if they don't write you back, guys. But
that's right.
They get swamped with emails.
Yeah, like, can you imagine? Can you imagine how much people get hit up there? So like now I guess Tiny Desk probably has like a whole department just fielding emails and shit.
Exactly.
Then same with like horror. What do they call it? The techno toilet? Is that what some people call that?
Yeah. No, it's cool though. It was. I did it 3 times. It was all right in there. I didn't dare try to do no vinyl set, you know, because of the sound. I was like, I'm gonna stick to the hybrid set and the live set, because you know, I wouldn't.
I think for DJ stuff, like I think it's cool, especially to see artists that you wouldn't have a chance to go see, especially, you know. But one thing that I really got that I think changed everything for the DJ world was this whole boiler room shit and the whole like idea of watching the DJ, looking at the DJ, and that really changed everything, man. I mean, I still love doing it.
Good or bad? You saying it changed? Did it change for the good or for
I think for the worst. Absolutely for the worst. Because now you know when you're playing, it's like you know this, or you know, or it's like, or you know, or they're just watching you like they're watching like a live band, and I'm like, bro, trust me, there's nothing to see here. Close your eyes and lose yourself on the floor. The dancers of the show, the room is a show. Look at this baddie over here. I would rather look at that. Trust me, like, you know, or whatever. It's like, why are you looking at homie on the knobs? And so like, I love the fact that, you know, like the horror thing and some of these, they give people the option to catch acts they might not be able to catch. But I also think like, that the whole boiler room thing's really, Rodney and I jokingly call it spoiler room, because it was like, it made the DJ like a stage act to watch, instead of like someone selecting music for you to dance to and listen, right? I mean, all the earlier clubs, there was like, the DJ would be like in the crow's nest, like or in the corner, and like you see the audience, but the audience doesn't need to see you. All that kind of shit. I think like with that DVS one, right? Like Zach was doing, he does that. I mean, I think more and more of that can only help, you know, because then like, because then the dancers aren't all like watching the DJ like, I'm gonna do that too. There's like, you like remember that like being part of the audience is crucial, and like the dancers are actually what make the vibe of the whole event. You know, like no audience, no art, right? That whole thing. Tree falls in the woods or whatnot. So I don't know. I think it's kind of it's an interesting era. I think where that shift is going to be, that kind of discussion is going to be happening more. Some of my students, they say the same thing. They're like, you know, some of them are like, I don't like going to Coachella anymore because it's just standing next to people going like this the whole time, right? And so like some of them are getting into that. Some of them, they're like, like one of them was saying that they leave their phone at home when they go out to go see a specific show or go to a rave or go to a party. I'm all, damn, that's commitment. There we go. You know, and they just like be in the moment, you know, really experience it. I feel like that shift is happening. That conversation at least is happening more and more, which is good. Which is good, especially for these kids, you know, drinking 3 cans of Celsius a day.
True. So
man, this is things like 200 milligrams of caffeine, bro. That's like Hugo Chavez levels. Of like, that's a dictatorship level of caffeine. I'll just throw that out there.
Oh, let's shift back a second to some music stuff. So
yeah.
Interesting. You're kind of all over the place. So when I was doing research for the show, I ran across this video that you're in a car driving.
Oh yeah. The Beast
name, but that was different because I was like, oh, I didn't know he makes stuff like that, and I didn't know you were on Music for Freaks. I was Good Ton.
Yeah,
I kind of knew about the circus company thing, but I've never, because I'm not really in that thing, but I never really heard of the label until it was like you and what's his name, Brian. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Aquarius.
Yeah.
Brian Aquarius. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, and you also on Hypercolor and Rebirth too. You, a lot of stuff going on there. Right? So, can you tell me about are you still on a part of the circus company? Are you still on the label, or just kind of like?
No, the owner of the label, Matthias, he's one of my best friends. We hit it off real well. That was the thing is actually every release I've ever done for other labels, especially, has always been an organic friendship based thing. I've actually, let me think. Yeah, for the record, I've never sent a demo cold to a label that I didn't know and ever had it come out on that. So these are all very personal. I've always thought of, you know, like the artistic journeys, like the more autobiographical, the better, you know, not textbook, my way, this journey. You know, so the owner of Circus Company, I was just, you know, going through records and I realized I bought like 2 or 3. They had these little compilations, a little 4-tracker, you know, various artists 4-tracker. And I bought 2 or 3 of the records and I was like, damn, this shit is fire. And then I just, you know, on the back, they got the email on there. And I was like, you know, just one of those days, I just wanted to throw some positivity back out in the world. And I just got on email and said, yo, these records are insane. Keep up the great work. This is the shit, you know, love from California, boom, whatever. Well, at the time it was San Francisco I was living in. So I said, love from San Francisco. And then not 2 minutes later, they wrote an email back. And it's like, thank you so much, you know, Mark from San Francisco. My label partner is actually in San Francisco right now. And I was like, and I wrote back like, oh shit, oh word? I'm like, well, I'm DJing at this thing tonight, send him here. And I gave him the address to the venue. And then he showed up at my gig, showed up with the next record that they had. We went back to my place after the gig, and he had a bag of records with him. And every record I pulled out, he was like, you know what I'm saying? One of those moments where you're like, oh shit, this is my kin right here. You know? And then he's like half Brazilian. We went into jazz. He started out doing graffiti and b-boying like I did. It was like, you know, one of those where you're like, all right. And he goes, do you produce music too? And I was like, and I had my ASR 10. The only 3 pieces of gear, just gear and everything for a moment that stuck with me was an ASR 10, the 909, and the 101. So that was my little setup there that I could make. And I went over to it and went press play. I was like, this is what I'm working on right now. He's all, we're taking it. And that was it. Just like that. So within a less than a 24-hour period of me hitting the label up, I was signed to them. And we just remain really close friends. He's definitely one of my best friends in the world. So we have a plan to release what'll be my 6th solo album later in the year. And it's a trip because it's got my thing. I started as a drummer, right? As a percussionist. I've always been beat forward, rhythm forward, like, you know, like most of us, especially in this world. But this is going to be, it's no drums allowed. That's the only rule. You know, I'm not going to say ambient and shit because I'll probably do some other stuff, but it's a no drums allowed thing. So I will be working with them for that later in the year. So we try to keep in touch and stuff. And actually, you know, I write some of their press releases for them sometimes. I have actually, when I went to school, I ended up with an English writing degree, not music. It's kind of a funny twist. So I do some of that as well. So we keep in touch, they keep me in the loop, you know, with other stuff they're releasing, and I'll hear it and write about it for them. But yeah, good people, man. That's what this is all about, right?
Yeah,
that personal connection. Like
right.
you can't. Another thing that can't be quantified or sold.
Yeah, too. Like I think I was saying that on the last show when we were with I believe David. That I do think a lot of that is lost. Like most of my friends, like you know, and we all do music, but look, this perfect example. I'm with two of my friends here right now,
right?
And we met. Like, oh yeah, this is Mark. Well, Dave, as I met you, but this is actually Mark. So it's just kind of like, you know, that's cool. But yo, like I said, I have mad fun with him. And it's like cool vibes, and we rarely talk about music. You know what I mean? Right. So it's that's what I like that a lot. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it's all about, and not this. Oh yeah, this music stuff. It's more to this. I mean, I think the music I tend to think of it as music is the vehicle for like friendship.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
So like I met you because of music, but my friendship ain't based on music. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
A lot of people get that kind of messed up. You know.
Well, and going back to the topic of traveling to Europe or living there in gigs and stuff too. That was another thing that I remembered. I remember doing a few interviews, and they're like, what do you get? I was something like, did you get fascinated by all the differences of the cultures? And I was always like, you know, what really fascinates me is how we're all the same. That we're all humans that want connection. We, you know, anywhere you go, that never changes. And like, if somebody really get, like, for example, with that Circus Company record, like I heard that shit and I heard the weird ass jazz influences in it. And I heard the like distorted ass techno fearless kind of feel to it and all these things. And the message of the artist that made that, it's like, we already agree on everything. We're already homies. Like I heard, you hear the sonics in that, it speaks to you and you're connected. So the email and us physically, it was just continuing that connection already, you know, and that's how music, that's what it is to me, right? It's like, it's a way to bond. And like, so if we already agreed on that, chances are, you know, we both love good food. We feel this way about politics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So those connections are all there as well. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then what else did I have? Oh, and going back to the hip hop thing, you told me an interesting story about you were producing an album for somebody or do some tracks for somebody and it didn't work out. So yeah, can you share that? Because I was like really like, oh my god, I can't believe this. This is dope.
Yeah. I guess it's fair. We can put it on Front Street, why not, right? So I was basically working on an album project. So it was the French label Logistic, who's put out some Daniel Bell stuff, DX, John Thomas. They've been in the game for, in fact, they're celebrating their 30-year anniversary this year. I just did a track for a compilation of theirs as well. But they started, you know, because they're also, you know, surprise, like dance music, but hip hop rooted, right? And they started doing a project where they were pairing electronic producers with some of their favorite MCs of all time. And so, like the first one, for example, was Bruno Prinsato. Steve Powers, I don't know if you guys know his stuff, but Bruno Prinsato paired with Kool Keith, right? And for the second one, they hit me up and they said, "Hey, we know you're a hip hop head. You got some beats?" And I said, "Well, you know, I'm on some old ass shit on tapes, but I could definitely make some new ones." They're like, "Cool, because we want to pair you with KRS-One." And I was just like, "Wait, say what now?" Like, what? like, you know, I was like, "Wait, you joking, right?" And like, no. Like, and because he, the label owner of Logistic, is friends with Chris's manager. Oh, so I was like, so I'm like, and then as soon as he told me that, I'm like, oh, this is like for real. So I was like, shit, all right. So, you know, I went like, you know, like Donnell said, I went 150% into some make beats for KRS. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
You know, and he was down at first. He I guess he'd heard one of the tracks. He was kind of like, you know, and this is like, these communication things are always a trip because it's like me talking to the label in France, who's talking to the manager, who's talking to the guy, and you know, it's like 4 degrees of communication separation, you know, translation error possibilities. But apparently he liked 2 of the specific tracks, and then I guess the like that Grammys thing happened with the 50th anniversary of hip hop. This is a few years back now. And I guess there was a big thing that like he didn't whatever, and then they just came back after that and said, to continue this project we need $50K, and the label's like like we don't have that. You know, it's not the 90s. Like we don't. Ain't no revenue for this shit anymore, man. Like we can't do that. So he that was it, and he backed out. And I had these like dope beats. And I was like, well, you know, I was really excited about it because I hadn't really focused on making hip hop in a while. So I was really excited about it. I think they're dope, right? And so we're like, well, shit, we're gonna find somebody else. And actually, yeah, remember, that's right, Myles. We were having barbecue with Rodney and Griff. We were talking about this. I was like, you know, mildly, to put it lightly, disappointed that it wasn't gonna happen with KRS. So we're like, and the guys at the label were like, you know, in a very kind of cool French way, like, fuck him, we'll find someone else, you know, whatever. I was like, damn, I wouldn't say that about him, but all right, you know. And then so we started thinking, like, who else? And it was a trip because I started going through all these catalogs of like some of our heroes, you know, all this 90s hip hop that we kind of came up on, and like who's still active or who's doing stuff that's not, you know, hey, Chewy, leave it. It's just George. That's my dog, Chewy. Hey, Chewy, leave it. Hey, this fool. Hey. Come here, come.
Hey, it's the dog.
Yeah.
I just had the same thing with my cat, man. That's why I had to. That's why I had to turn the camera.
I saw that.
Yeah. She came in here and started making some mayhem, so I had to jump off camera.
Hold on one second, guys. Sorry. Yep. What's going on? So this is Chewy here.
Hey.
Yeah. The Baja Super Mutt. That's Julie in the back. You're live.
Hello.
That's wifey and Chewy. What were we talking about?
The French guys.
The MC thing. Yeah. So we were going through all these catalogs, and I was listening to, like, damn, man, it's a tough call. You know, there's so many great artists, and then I was thinking, like, oh, you know, it'd be sick, Bahamadia, or like the female rapper. That album that she did with DJ Premier produced, I used to love that thing. And so I was like, all right. So we tried hunting her down. I actually went at her directly, just, you know, slid into the DMs, made requests. And then she was down. We're like, okay, cool. That's what it's going to be then. And then, and then a similar thing happened. The guys the label sort of changed their budgeting offer, and her manager wasn't having it. So it was like, again. So I was like, damn. So that's where we left off with Myles at that barbecue lunch. I was like, I still got these beats, and they're down. I just kind of like, I got tired of thinking about who to go to next, you know? So I think it's still going to happen. We just got to find the right.
Come up.
Yeah. That's what you were like. You're like Souls of Mischief. We're like trying to think of who to. You know, I would love to do like Mike and Nine or like AC Alone or like these LA Freestyle Fellowship guys. Those are probably arguably some of the best MCs in history, you know? Like if it wasn't a popularity contest and just about skill, they would be the Jay-Z's and the Biggies and the, you know.
Right.
You know, so no, I think it's still gonna happen. We just let it cool off a little bit.
Yeah.
Some days I'm like, you know, Rodney's like, bro, you should just do it. You know, so who knows? You might see it. You might see that on Elbow Grease, you know.
There you go. There you go.
Got some hidden bars in there somewhere.
Nice. We got a couple of comments. So I'd set up Mike Banks with MF Doom. Well, a little late for that one, but that could be dope.
Yeah. That would definitely be the dream team there.
Yeah, for sure. Same person, 50K in techno.
Yeah, exactly.
That is true.
That was kind of funny about that moment was like, you know, because it's like, I guess advances. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing advances like maybe in the mid 90s, maybe they would get a 50K advance on, you know, like on a rap album, right? But yeah, we were like, it's now.
That's Dave. What up, Dave? A$AP Rock.
Oh yeah, he's great. I always wondered about that A$AP Rock thing, how he feels about that shit. You know, for the record, the new A$AP Rocky is actually really good, and his SNL performance was surprisingly great, I thought.
You know, they made together.
I wondered about the names. How did that, right?
Yeah.
Surely he didn't know anything about that. I always wondered about that. Because Aesop Rock he's a beast, man. Some of
Yeah,
that, like the album that he did on like was it Definitive Jux, I think, right? Yeah.
The Labor Day album was my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
All I ever wanted was to pick apart the day and put the pieces back together my way. That chorus is amazing. That's like one of my favorite hooks of all time in hip hop.
You don't look like him, you know that, don't you?
Somebody told me that one time too. I usually get Filipino Jimmy Fallon, but I'll take Aesop Rock.
I take Aesop. Shall we invite you to our Illuminated Underground parties? And I want you to meet.
Yeah, just be friendly to the dog, man, or they might bite. Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, double horns, yeah.
Donnell back on the Illuminati. You got to do is the triangle too, I guess, right?
Yeah. I'm waiting because like last time I showed, it was this huge like, Illuminated. Like I don't know what he did. I don't know.
What did that person say?
Smith and Wesson.
Oh, there's Because Black Smith and Wesson. Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, what's that? What's it? Hallucinations, right? Because and I love that cut. Where there's recapping
that stuff, man.
Yeah. Dude, that's way up there. That might be in my top 10 hip hop cuts.
That album was dope.
So good.
I think it
was the Shining, right?
Like underrated. Like they didn't get a lot of that, but that's like a dope ass album. Like one of the few, like from start to finish.
Yeah, no skips, 0 skips, and it was dope too because it was like The Shining, right? And they even did like the circle where they're all looking down at that, and it's reminiscent of Roy Ayers from the album that he did, right? That has We Live in Brooklyn, baby. And so it's like this whole like they were on that shit, man. See, those are the kind of Easter eggs I love. That's the shit. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh man, and actually, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, we'll keep it going. You
should, man. You should. So yeah, we gotta we all gotta link up whenever D comes back here.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Like
if I'm in Warsaw, I'll definitely come give a shout.
Yeah, man. Especially if you get to Berlin, you're right down the road. So.
Yeah. Well, I played for some heads in Warsaw, and some great folks. I remember one of the promoters. His name was like Josa, I think. He used to do these nights there.
Oh, Mike, yeah.
Mike Yoshit. Yeah.
1,500 meters, man. They used to do a lot of. He's a good homeboy of mine. Actually.
Dude, tell him I said what's up. He was one of like when I first touring in Europe, he was definitely one of my favorite people because
Mike knows,
and he would just put me up. Yeah, he would just put me up. I would play the gig and I'd just stay with him for a week.
Yeah, he knows the scene well too. He's he has a great business mind. And
absolutely.
I'm still in touch with him.
He also knows the music. He knows the music. As far as promoters go, he's like in my mind kind of like the archetype of the ideal event promoter because he knows the music. He's also a great DJ. He's also really social and he's also a really good business mind. So that's like if you check all those boxes, he's a good dude, man. Some of my favorite gigs I've had in Europe were with him.
But he got a lot of that from Eliza, his girlfriend.
Right. Of course.
She kind of put him on and put him into everything because she had been doing it for a long time.
She's good people
over
too.
Here. Yeah. So sometimes I've actually because of the Yasna One Club over here. Actually, I think I had reached out to her and asked her if she knew people there. And then she was like, okay, contact this dude. And then that was about 10 years ago. And I still have a great relationship with them.
Right.
So,
they were great. Yeah. I remember staying there, like crashing at their pad and they're both just on laptops, like just knocking it out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking like the next morning after I'm waking up like, like I need a hangover cure bad. And they're over here just like, just handling business, man. Good people. Yeah, Warsaw's dope. I liked Krakow too. I played a couple good shows
Krakow's it's just a weird crowd because sometimes when you're playing, the club will be packed for 10 minutes, and then next thing you look up, where'd they go?
Right,
and then they come back, and then they go away. But they do this club hopping thing. Because the last time I played down there, that's when I really realized, that's what's happening. Let's see, they're kind of in this thing, and they're moving from like different groups. So actually, I'm not seeing the same people in the room that I thought it was when it was packed.
Right.
So, and this has happened with only the like really small parties I played for my friends that actually own bars down there. that doesn't happen there. It always stays packed because those people are coming for that. But the bigger clubs, like the techno clubs, this was like, so what's going on? I know that I'm playing decent or good, like, but no, don't worry. There's more people. They're gone again. I was just like, what? Yeah. What is this? But I love Krakow in general. Like, if I didn't live in Warsaw, I would pick that probably like on my second choice. I mean, people there are cliquey, but it's kind of like an artist town.
Exactly. You know what it kind of reminded me of, because technically it's like a cuter city or whatever kind of too, right? And it's like there's more like university students. It's kind of like comparing like Hamburg to Berlin.
Yeah, like I mean, Krakow is like it reminds me of Berlin actually in some parts.
Yeah,
the Kazimierz area is similar.
Yeah, or like St. Petersburg to Moscow, like that. You know, where it's like like St. Petersburg's a little more, maybe a little more artsy and a little more student oriented, like that. Moscow's like the bigger city, and like the club nights you play there feel like that. So I think that's accurate. I definitely had better, like stronger gigs in Warsaw, but like walking around Krakow is pretty nice too. Though.
Yeah.
And it's pretty close, right? You could get over there pretty quick whenever you.
Well, now, because Poland and up their train games like crazy, so you could even get there in about 2.5 hours on faster trains. A little bit more expensive, but it's like what, $5 or $10 more to be on that train versus
that's cool.
Taking 4 hours on a slower one. I'd rather go on a faster one and get there.
Yeah, see, that's an example of something like in Europe that I kind of miss out here. We're not taking trains to places and shit. Although we do have one, there's one called the Surfliner here that goes down the coast, and it goes down to the border, down to Tijuana, basically. And that's so sometimes when I'm playing a gig down in TJ, do the train, go down there and just walk across the border. Man, don't even have don't have to mess with any of the airport shit.
You made me think about my old days being in the Marines, man. When I did my basic out in MCRD, San Diego.
Right there, yeah.
And then I did all my school training in Oceanside, so we was always up and down.
So you know that coast right there, yeah.
That whole on, down to Tijuana. I remember going to jail in Tijuana. The staff sergeant had to come get us out, all of us.
There's some tales to be told there.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. It started with me seeing this 909 in the pawn shop window, but
down there,
that's where it started, and then it ended up with all of us.
Wow.
Jail for the night.
See what happens when you do music, people.
Love's gonna get you. Love's gonna get you.
But I was only in the reserves, people. I wasn't active duty. I was just in the reserves. And after 3 years, I was able to get out because back then they were letting people go early. And if you want to volunteer to leave early, I was like, sure. I got all my money from my studio and from my university. So
did it right.
I don't need to stick around much longer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, respect and thanks for the service regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Glad you out of Tijuana jail.
Yeah.
That was, when you were young, you're a Marine, you got money in your pocket, and you just out there, people loud, you're doing the wrong thing,
Going to jail for a 909 is very reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, there were. I still have my original 909 that I bought with my homie Mickey that we were working on techno at the time. I think we paid like $600 for it. It's like 95, 96 maybe. Still got that baby. It's got the same state. Still working. Got some scratches, pots in that thing.
Right.
I'll have to say my 909 story, how I got mine, for another day, because I got it in Grand Rapids though, in Myles, the city, and it used to belong to a famous R&B singer. Because it was smoking, he pawned it.
You got that story. Then there's another story about somebody. I think it was Kiko's 808.
Because they were there. They were the 909 and 808 was in that pawn shop on 44th Street.
Okay.
They were both sitting behind the thing. I got the 909 because I wanted that more, and it was cheaper. It was only $250. But you could tell they'd been smoking because there was a burnt mark still on that thing.
Somebody put the cig out on the box.
And he told me, he said, this is from, D. brother, and he said that he got 2 weeks to come and pick it up. If he ain't came and pick it up in 2 weeks, I'll sell it.
You sell it, yeah.
Yep.
Like,
I got it.
So that's literally the rhythm composer of the night.
Yeah. Who's Johnny?
Yeah.
It's like Kiko's the 808 Kiko had was the Iceman's 808 through somebody else. Through the dude that made Megatron's bass. There was connection, and when you track it back, there was the Ice guys 808. So it's crazy, and this is all the way in Michigan. There's like all these stories, but yeah, if these people knew now, but it's kind of crazy.
Gear legacies, man.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys saw that? What was it? The homie from is it Florian Schneider from Kraftwerk? They put up like his whole. It went online, and it was like an auction to just sell off all his stuff. And I remember a couple of friends had sent it to me, like, check this out. And we at the studio up at Point Winona, we're like, man, we got to get a piece of Kraftwerk shit, They had some oscilloscopes and some of the stuff that you're like, we could get that for a few hundo, right?
Right.
Wrong. They put that shit up on RA or whatever and wired and that shit went, dude. I think the bicycle sold for like $150K. Wow. And like that little oscilloscope that I had my eye on, I think a couple of my partners were looking at other pieces, but I really wanted that little, kind of looked like the radioactive Kraftwerk looking thing. And when I was looking at it, it was 400 and it sold for like 16K. That the bidding war, man. They're just like so we just kind of laughed our way off that site. But man, that'd be some dope gear legacy to have. I think was it Andrew Weatherall? They were selling some of his stuff, like some of these legacy things that kind of raise funds and yeah. The last studio that I had that I was working in before the Point Winona was actually G Sun Studios with my good friend Alex Sons, and it was actually the studio where the Beastie Boys recorded. It was their studio. Wow. So it's where they recorded like Check Your Head and Hello Nasty and the sounds from Way Out or whatever. And so it was always interesting to be in the room there and just being like, I'd be in the vocal booth and be like, damn, they dropped that, Check Your Head or like, So What You Want. They recorded this vocal in this booth. It was always kind of like a legacy trip to me. Yeah.
Cool. So what do you got going on? What's coming up with you? What's happening?
Yeah, the big compilation, man. Point Winona Sound Library Volume 1 coming out soon on Elbow Grease on our label. Also a collab with Disco's XXX DX3. We're doing it as kind of a joint effort. It's going to be amazing. It's 12 tracks, 20 different artists, all from the LA scene. Kind of came together on it. It's a pretty magical and massive project. So it's coming out March 6th. So this month we're kind of in full form right now. The promo PR game's going strong. People are starting to catch the vibe, the momentum. We had that great dinner on Friday for all the artists that are on there to kind of help, boost morale and get everybody excited. Mm-hmm. It's exciting, man. I've never done anything like this before. And not to overstate it, but I was also thinking like, even the great compilations, even like, This Is Techno, the classic Detroit stuff. It's like, they were all still working in their respective studios, Right. I remember thinking, like you're even like hip hop, you like think like, oh, like Queens, I bet, so-and-so sitting in the room with so-and-so right now. Like we fantasize about like how connected all these people are. And then you like go there and they're like, no, I don't ever see that fool or, whatever. You're like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? You get like the real like, oh yeah, shit. Y'all don't even talk to each other. But like we think of, whether it's Detroit or New York for hip hop or whatever, you just assume like, oh, they must be homies. And they're like, nah, we don't. Nah, sometimes it's not even like we don't talk. Sometimes it's like, fuck that guy or whatever, It's like, and what's special about this is literally 20 like friends, like homies of mine, and then they're all talented and they're all making music and they're all here in LA. And again, representative of different strains. DJ Dex from Underground Resistance, he's on there with me and Vikas. We did a jam together. The Omnichord, that little tennis racket looking synth thing. Like Vikas, he picked up a reissue of that, I think, and we just jammed on that bad boy, and then just like a round robin jamming on the Omnichord, and that's the track that's on the compilation. So a lot of the energy of these songs, it's just like stuff like that. We came together and did that. And one of the tracks another one I did with a buddy of mine, Raph, he does a weekly radio show called the Omakase Mix Show, which is pretty great. He's always highlighting local DJs on there. And we've known each other for 30 years. In fact, some of the first like raves I ever went to was with him, like in the early 90s. But we've known each other all this time. We've stayed active in music. We're still pretty much best friends. But we've never done anything. We never worked on a track together once. So that track is on this compilation, and that one's like, you can feel it. It's like there's 30 years of like friendship and musical history and all in that moment. So I feel like the compilation is like such an important, like, not just collection of tracks. The tracks are all dope. Even if people that don't know anything about the backstory, I think they'll find some stuff that'll blow the floor up, you know. But I think all the connection and all that energy and all the collaboration and all the love that's put into it, I think it's really special, man. I've never been involved in anything like it, but I've never seen anything like it ever. Maybe in any genre. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Abbey Road is a dope studio, but I don't know if they ever had every artist that was on that studio in one compilation. So it's pretty special, man. We're pretty hyped on it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mr. Dave, we thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me, fellas. Yeah.
It was dope, man.
And was that the crowd saying "Go Seahawks"? Is that what I heard?
All right, boo. I'm actually rooting for the Seahawks, but we'll see.
Yeah. You were saying it's gonna be a blowout, though.
I think it's gonna be a blowout, but I think the reverse way. We'll see.
Okay. I'm hoping for that 2015 good game. You know,
yeah.
Like, I want to get down to the overtime.
For sure.
Yeah.
But guys, thank you guys for joining us. So when you get a chance, go over to Elbow Grease Records, www.elbowgreasela. Check it out. I believe website. You got links to your Bandcamp and all that stuff.
Yeah, the Bandcamp's up there, and we have the compilation now up for pre-order. So it's you can copy. You get one track now. Stacy Christine, who's a big homie and one of the best DJs in the LA scene for sure. Right. Her debut track, on Bandcamp, you get one track when you do the pre-order, so you get hers now. And it's a banger. We've been getting great feedback about that. So yeah, if you guys hop over to the Bandcamp and support, and we are pressing that double pack wax despite the insane prices to do so now. It's wild, man. It's expensive, but it's there. So if you guys want the vinyl, we can pre-order the vinyl, digital there too. And then, yeah, it'll be out everywhere March 6th for the world.
All right. So make sure you go check it out. Once again, thank you, Dave.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
All right. I'll get back to you soon, bro.
All right.
Peace. What up, D?
Yeah, man. That's shoot. Insightful.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was over here in Poland, so that's cool. I'm gonna have to hit up Mike and be like, man, you didn't tell me he was here back then.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And shame on you guys if you don't go over to Sonic Mind Records Bandcamp page and go check it out and get some good music and check it out. Go there. Links at the bottom. Sonic Mind Bandcamp page. www.sonicmindrecords/Bandcamp.
Bye.
Also, as you see, I had earlier, my Somewhere in podcast is up on SoundCloud. The link's below. I hate to say it because it's too much to say, but you can see it, so check it out.
Listen.
On me, I do this thing. I do a mix whenever I feel like it, but it's there. Go check it out. And while you're doing that, and you have time on the internet, go check out the Decisive Podcast series.
Yes. Check out
for our homie Roberto Ingram. That's his podcast there. Make sure you guys please go there, check it out. He has great interviews, great people he's interviewing, great discussions with him and his co-host, and I forgot her name right now. But go check him out. When you get there, please like, share, and subscribe to his podcast too. Boom. Next episode next week.
DJ Roach
and Moses Malone. If you guys don't know, you will know who these people are. But go check that out and make sure you tune in with us next Sunday, February 15th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. CTE, which is Central European Time. So, and where Donnell is at, that's the Europe time. This time we start, so go check it out. Ending stuff. It's a lot to do. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, support us by doing that. It's free. You ain't paying for nothing. Just like, share, and subscribe. It helps us out in the long run. If you don't want to see our face, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but I understand, we are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Also follow us on Instagram and X. Instagram at MS Live with D-KNOX. That's at MS Live with D-KNOX. X at Myles Sergé. We haven't fired Roberto yet, so he still can get emails. MS Live with D-KNOX at gmail.com. That's MS Live with D-KNOX at gmail.com. Tell us how much you hate us, how much you like us, what you want to see on the show, what you don't want to see on the show. Just say hello, whatever you want to do, it's there. You can also support us at PayPal. MSLive with D-KNOX at gmail.com is the email address to support us, or simply scan that QR code that's up there in the corner. That's there for donations. We also DJ, produce, live PA, not me. Well, I think I might throw my hand in that pot. Hit us up. Inquiries, me, Myles Sergé, info at position2bookings.com. That's info at position2bookings.com. Mr. Knox is with those great people over there at Stellar Booking. Hit them up. Booking at stellarbooking.com. That's booking at stellarbooking.com. Also, at the end of the show, will you please like you to stick around for a second? You can see our sponsors and the people that support us and love us. They're at the end of the show. Watch the reel, and watch the reel. Closing comments. Thanks, guys. Thank you, TAO8365. You've been through the show a lot today.
Yes. Thanks, Tom.
Great comments. We love that. That's what we like to see. Thank you for doing that. Make sure you join in next week too. Take us out, D.
Look, y'all, much love. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the love. Keep showing more love. And we'll see you guys next week on the flip side, next Sunday.
And that being said, peace, people.
Peace.